Hello everyone, we are from Group 3 of Sociolinguistic EED 6B. Now we are going to explain about codes. The members are Istifani M, Juniarto A.S, Kartika S.M, and Khansa A.A. Keep watching!
Hello guys, I'm Fanny. How are you today? I'm fine here, and now I will a little bit explain about diglossia, or in Bahasa is diglossia. Now take a look to the slide. Ferguson has defined diglossia is a relatively stable language situation in which, in addition to the primary dialects of the language, which may include the standard or regional standards, there is a very divergent, highly codified, or often grammatically more complex, superposed variety, the vehicle of a large and respected body of written literature, either of an earlier period or in another speech community, which is learned largely by formal education and is used for most written and formal spoken purposes, but is not used by any sector of the community for ordinary conversation. Okay, from that definition, we can conclude that diglossia describes a particular type of sociolinguistic situation in which there is a clear differentiation in function between the language or language varieties used in a bilingual or multilingual community. The next slide is characteristic of diglossia. Diglossia happens because people use more than one language, which can be consist of their native language and their official language as national language. In diglossia, basically, people use one specific language in certain situation and another language in another situation. Okay, take a look to the slide. The first characteristic is prestige. Prestige speaker consider high as the more powerful and low is a number of respect. I mean, high is high variety and low is low variety. So it is like high variety is more positive than low variety. Next is acquisition. The main difference between high and low varieties is the way of acquiring each one. Low variety is usually used by adults while speaking to children, and children use it among each other. The high variety is taught, whereas the low variety is learned, like that. The next one is literary heritage. It is like poetry was written and introduced in high variety. In most diglossic language, literature is written in high variety except what is known as folk literature, which is written in low variety. The next one is standardization. Grammar system is the main point in high variety. This is the important one, the important case. Ferguson calls high variety as grammatically more complex, while Kay says that high variety may be viewed as a marked system and the colloquial as unmarked system. The next one is phonology. High and low variety vary in case of phonology. In using high variety, phonology rules are most important, but in low variety, it is not really necessary. Okay, the last one is lexicon. High and low variety has differences in case of their lexicon. High variety includes in its lexicon some rules, which have no equivalence in low variety. Varieties of diglossia. Diglossia has two types of variety. We have already mentioned it before. The first one is high variety. It is like formal, official, professional, like that. And the second is low variety. It is like informal, friendly, slang, vulgar, like that. Okay, the next slide is about features of diglossia. Diglossia has been used both in a narrow and in a much broader sense. In the narrow and original sense of the term, it has three crucial features. Number one, two distinct varieties of the same language are used in the community, with one regarded as a high variety and the other a low variety. Number two, each variety is used for quite distinct functions. High and low complement each other. Number three, and last, no one uses the high variety in everyday conversation. This is the important point. Okay, let's move to the last slide. The examples of high variety and low variety. In high variety, there are newspaper editorials, political speeches, university lectures, churches, and most it is like in the formal situation. While low variety, the examples are giving instruction to waiters, personal letters, radio soap operas, and so on. It is like more non-formal situation. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Well, hello, I'm Juni, and today I would like to present the material about monolingualism, bilingualism, and multilingualism. Okay, let's take a look to the next slide. Monolingualism. Monolingualism is the ability to use only one language. It's such a widely accepted norm in so many parts of the Western world that it's often assumed to be a worldwide phenomenon. To the extent that bilingual and multilingual individuals may appear to be unusual. Monolingualism comes from the Greek language. The meaning of mono is one, and the meaning of lingue is language. So, we can conclude that monolingualism is the ability to use only one language. Okay, let's go to the next slide. It is bilingualism. According to Robert Lado, stated that bilingualism is the ability to speak two languages with equal or nearly as good. Same as monolingualism, bilingualism comes from Greek language. The meaning of bi is two, and lingua is language. So we can conclude that bilingualism is the ability to speak two languages. The main requirements to be a bilingual person is you have to be master at your mother tongue, because the expansion of this opinion expressed by the level of bilingualism in terms of mastery of grammatical elements, lexical, semantic, and style are reflected in four language skills like listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The next material is multilingualism. Multilingualism is the act of using or promoting the use of multiple languages, either by an individual speaker or by a community of speakers. Same as monolingual and bilingual, multilingual also comes from Greek language. Multi, it means more than two, and lingua is bahasa. So multilingual is the ability to speak more than two languages. Multilingualism is becoming a social phenomenon governed by the needs of globalization and cultural openness. Because if you learn about language, you do not just learn about the specific language, but you learn about the culture too. And the last slide is the map of bilingual and multilingual classification. More than half of the world's population is bilingual or multilingual per statistic reference in Multicultural America, a multimedia encyclopedia. As you can see in America continent, 17% of people in the United States are bilingual. In the Europe continent, 56% of Europeans are bilingual. And then in Africa, 50% of population of Africa is multilingual. And most of people in Papua New Guinea are multilingual. And for your information, Papua New Guinea is the country with the most language in the world. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I'm Kartika. I hope you are fine in your home. Okay, I'm going to explain definition about code switching and code mixing. In this slideshow, I have two definition. You can read the definition about code switching. Nah, the definition of code switching is one of the phenomena of language occur in society to make the communication more effective and meaningful. The first, code switching, usually used by the people who understand more than one language. The second is people sometimes which code within the domain or social situation. Okay. The second is code mixing. This is the definition about code mixing. Code mixing is symptom of language usage in which a mixing or a combination of different variations within the same clause. Mixed into the code cloud be called inner code mixing.
Hi, I'm Khansa. Now I will explain about recent speakers use code switching. There are a number of possible reasons for switching from one language to another. Number 1. To fulfill a need. A speaker who may not be able to express him or herself in one language may switch to another to compensate for the deficiency. As a result, the speaker may be triggered into speaking in the other language for a while. This type of code switching tends to occur when the speaker is upset, tired, or distracted in some manner, or when they are less fluent in one language. Number 2. To express solidarity. Switching also commonly occurs when an individual wishes to express solidarity with a particular social group. Rapport is established between the speaker and the listener when the listener responds with a similar switch. The last, to exclude others. Code switching may also be used to exclude others from a conversation who do not speak the second language. For example, if two people in an elevator in an English-speaking place spoke Spanish, then not only would the others on the elevator who do not speak Spanish would be excluded from the conversation, but also a degree of comfort and intimacy will be established between the Spanish speakers due to the fact that not all those present in the elevator can listen to their conversation. Types of code switching. Number 1. Intersentential. In intersentential code switching, the language switch is done at sentence boundaries, words or phrases at the beginning or end of a sentence. This type is seen most often in fluent bilingual speakers. For example, if you are late from the job interview, Ise al-Kumsan. Number 2. Intrasentential. In intrasentential code switching, the shift is done in the middle of a sentence, with no interruption, hesitation, or pause to indicate a shift. The speaker is usually unaware of the shift. For example, you are sleepy cause you man, because you spend a lot of time in your bed. Different types of switches occur within the clauses level and within the word level. Number 3. Extrasentential or text switching. This is the switching of either a single word or a text phrase or both from one language to another. This type is common in intrasentential switches. It involves the insertion of a text from one language into an utterance in another language. For example, L is the Ogasa y asilo krikan alas. If you know what I mean. Another example is how Turkish students use some boundary words like ama, it means but, or yeni, it means I mean, while speaking English. Who use code switching? Code switching occurs mostly in bilingual communities. Speakers of more than one language are known for their ability to code switch or mix their language during their communication. What are some examples of code switching? Here I will give you some example of expression that explain about code switching. Example number 1. If you have an exam next week, şimdi çalışma başlamışsın. This is an expression of English plus Turkish. The last expression. Pıtı pataya madina sebarnis burgers leader. I want protein. This is an expression of Tagalog plus English. That's all from us. Thanks for watching. Thank you for your nice attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.